The front of the bulletin says, don't trust your emotions, trust in God. That's not something most of us do. I was talking to someone not too long ago who said their life's a mess. They're under so much stress. They worry all the time about everything. You know, worry is a type of fear. There are two main pathways in the brain that's utilized. One is the pathway of pleasure. And when something is pleasurable, it gives you a feeling of satisfaction, of fulfillment, of contentment, of peace. And the brain puts out chemicals that causes these sensations to occur. And the chemicals actually activate about 35 to 40% of the total body. The other pathway is the pathway of fear, or fight, or flight, if you want to use that term. And that pathway puts out chemicals that activates almost every part, 100% of the body. And most of our emotions go down one of those two pathways. Now the funny thing is that we can actually get pleasure from fear. And this is what happens when you go to a high-action movie, a high-intensity movie, where you're on your seat edge, or a horror show, or something that makes you fearful, but in a way which is contentment, or a way which can give you also a feeling of security and pleasure. That's why horror shows are so popular. The problem is that we can take that scenario from the show and transmit it to real life so that we become more fearful all the time. And some people worry about everything. They're fearful about everything. They're anxious about everything. And as a result, they try to subdue that anxiety and stress in all sorts of ways. Drugs, alcohol, relationships, things which don't work. The word fear is used 367 times in 354 verses in the New King James Version of the Bible. And most of the time, it's meant in this context of fear not. The word afraid is used 216 times in 212 verses. And 48 of those times, it is do not be afraid. We don't listen to that because people are fearful and afraid most of the time. The only aspect of fear which tells us to be fearful of is to fear the Lord. 33 times that's used. The problem is people fear everything but the Lord. And it says worry is used only 8 times. But it's used in this context. Do not worry about your life. Matthew 16:25. Do not worry about clothing. Matthew 6:28. Do not worry, saying, what shall we eat? Matthew 6:31. Matthew 6:34. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Matthew 10:19. When they deliver you up, do not worry about how or what you should speak. Matthew 13:11. Do not worry beforehand or premeditate. Luke 12:11. Do not worry about what you should answer. or what you should say. And Luke 12:22. Do not worry about your life, what you will eat, nor about the body, what you will put on. And that comes from a parable spoken by Christ. He said, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentiful. And he reasoned within himself, what shall I do, because I have not where to bestow my fruits? And he said, this will I do, I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my grain and all my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, you has much goods laid up for many years. Take your ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said unto him, you foolish one, this night is your soul required of you. And the things which you hast prepared, where shall they be? So it is he that lays up treasure for himself, and is not rich toward God. It doesn't say about laying up treasure. It says, and is not rich towards God. And he said therefore unto his disciples, be not anxious for your life, what you shall eat, nor yet for your body for what you shall put on. For life is more than food, and the body more than raiment. The Bible tells us to fear nothing except to fear the Lord. It says not to worry. How much of our illness and our stress and our anxiety and our miserableness can be resolved if we didn't worry and have excessive stress? That doesn't mean you shouldn't be prepared. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be concerned about things that happen, but there's a difference between concern and excessive worry.
Yes.
It says we are to trust in God.
Yes.
Psalm 56:4. In God I have put my trust, I will not fear. In Psalm 56:11. In God I will lift my trust, I will not be afraid. Psalm 78:11. Because they did not believe in God, they did not trust in his salvation. You cannot worry and surrender to God. If you are surrendered to God, there should be no excessive worry or fear or anxiety. You cannot do both. So, happiness, the pleasure sensations come when you're content, when you're fulfilled, when you feel satisfied. They will never come from worry, anxiety, or fear. So trust in God and fear only the Lord. And that's something to think about.